there everyone, Jigs VL here with a brand new Power Ranger discussion. It has been quite a while since I talked about anything Power Ranger related, probably because I've been wanting to talk about other things around my channel, do other things around my channel, of course, trying to do some artwork, but enough of that type of chit chat, right? You're here for me to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the anniversary special. And oh boy, I'm gonna be completely honest. While I did enjoy it for the most part, I did have some mixed bag and conflicting emotions towards it. Only because I now figured out what happened behind the scenes when it comes to drama. So bear with me when I say that if you want to understand where I'm coming from, you definitely had to. I would highly recommend checking out Mr. Weenie Productions videos and regarding JDF's beef and drama towards both Saban and mostly the likes of Hasbro. And that JDF's best friend was actually talking about this stuff and has those recordings. So if you're not going to be comfortable by that, you don't have to check them out. But if you are interested on how I feel about towards this special, then I would check them out nonetheless. So we start off in going to the year 2022, and apparently we see a Robo-Rita. That is right, Rita Repulsa is back as a robot. Well, I'll get to that a little bit later as to why that happened and how that happened, right? And having her army of putties up against the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, such as Tommy, Kimberly, Trini, Jason, Billy, and Zach. But only Billy and Zach are the ones that are physically there. The other ones are just stunt doubles with audio on them. Now, this is where I'm kind of mixed bag on. I'm like, I get why they do that. And if you're wondering why Jason isn't there, well, it's because let's just say the Red Ranger himself got into some predicaments a while ago when it comes to some allegations, when it comes to tax fraud or whatever. So, not going too deep on that here, all right? As for Kimberly, let's just say she doesn't want, let's just say the actress doesn't want to break her heart anymore as it is, all right? And of course, we know why JDF isn't on there, but apparently this was directed and produced before his passing, so it's definitely to do with the beef and drama, if I didn't know any better. We already know why Trini isn't physically there, right? So it makes sense why they have a stunt double for her and for everyone else for that matter. So now I just feel very mixed on that, but it just makes sense why they had to go with that route. But anyways, we get to see that Billy, he was about to get completely knocked out, and I do mean like they were gonna kill him off, right? But no, we get to see Trini sacrificing herself to protect Billy, and she was the one that gets killed right off the bat by Robo-Rita. Now, I feel very conflicted on this because I would have been fine if they did, like, I don't know, that Trini passed away from a illness, like a natural cause, instead of being outright killed by Rita. So I'm just like, I don't know about that. Like, I just don't know about that, right? But hey, anything to have a plot, I guess that makes sense, but oh well, what can you do with that, right? So then we have both Zach and Billy. They were having a little bit of a dispute on how to handle the news to Min, that is Trini's daughter. And she walks in, hearing about them, what they were talking about, and she was in shock that they're Power Rangers and that this robot Rita killed her mom. So then after that year, we're now in 2023, of course, is you get to see Min doing some martial arts practice. And this is another thing where I have a complaint that is much more of a critique. Like, okay, the actress herself, throughout the episode, I think she's doing pretty fine, at least in terms of her acting. However, her choreography when it comes to martial arts, not so much though. It looks very sloppy. This is coming from a guy who is not an expert on martial arts whatsoever, but I can tell that the choreography, like, she's like trying way too hard, and it looks like she didn't get like a proper direction on how to properly fight. So, yeah, there's that. So then what happens is that like both Billy and Zach are trying to look after Min, And Min is actually being a little bit irrational, but of course you see where she's coming from, because like she does want to beat Robo-Rita herself, and to have revenge against her when it comes to her mother's passing. And you cannot blame her, and she would think that is justice, but no, I agree with Zach, that is purely revenge, not much of justice. And you do need to do a little bit more selfless acts when it comes to being a hero. But of course, I think what will bother some Power Ranger fans is that like Zach will say on the lines that like, look, you're still young, and you're not ready to be a Ranger. And I'm like, dude, Zordon chose you guys when you were young yourself, so don't give that. Just saying, okay? Just saying. But anywho, she does feel a little bit resentful towards Billy for the most part, because what happens on how Rita was brought back is because, okay, now, if you've seen the likes of Power Rangers in space, is that, well, when it comes to the finale, Zordon requested Andros, the Red Space Ranger, to take away his life, which would to distinguish evil forces. All right, so those evil forces that was Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa, they're this is where my theory kicks in. Evil spirits been distinguished from their physical bodies, and those physical bodies are now good people. So when I say a theory, apparently Rita Repulsa's spirits was going into the. Apparently, Billy thought like he was detecting Zordon's life force, like a chance for him to be brought back. But no, it was Rita who fooled Billy into thinking that, and that decided to possess Alpha 8. Alpha 8 transforms into Robo-Rita. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. And again, with this theory, with this whole like evil spirits, I'm like, it's kind of odd on how they're trying to like explain and present on how Rita is brought back to life, especially when it comes to using the Z waves in this instance. And when I say Z waves, I am talking about Zordon's life force energy being as a big wave of energy. All right, so I was like, my best guess is an evil spirit was dwelling in there. I guess that would make sense, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I think it would contradict on how Lord Zed is brought back to life. So for those who have not watched Cosmic Fury by any means, is that Lord Zed was brought back by a device when using his Z stave or staff, whatever you want to call it. Because if you completely missed out on Beast Morphers, they use that very same device to bring back other villains that came beforehand, and Goldar was one of them, and he looked completely different, only because of the Super Sentai footage. All of this right here is not Super Sentai footage. This is all original footage, and I actually really appreciate that, so I dig it. But anyways, I do think that kind of contradicts on how villains are being brought back, because Lord Zed being an evil spirit, I'm like, I guess that would make sense, but considering he didn't have to possess anyone to be brought back to life, I'm like, I don't know about that. I just don't know about that. All right, I think it makes sense for Rita. Lord Zed, I don't know anymore. They're just now finding other ways, other excuses to bring back characters that were from Mighty Morphin to be as a big threat. And for those who don't know, when it comes to Super Sentai, is that they did a Super Sentai reference, and that is Pandora's Protocol, or the Pandora Protocol. Just that you know, Rita Repulsa's actual original name from Zooranger, where Mighty Morphin was adapted from, is that like her name was Pandora in that series. So I was like, okay, then I kind of like that nod. Pandora Protocol. Okay, then I kind of dig that. It makes sense. It makes perfectly good sense in that regard. So then now after that though, we get to see the likes of both Aisha and even Johnny Young Bosch playing as Adam, which was pretty pleasing to see them. But they're not in action though, so it's just more like talking and communicating for the most part. So you don't get to see them in action at all, which I think it's kind of lackluster in that regard. I kind of kid myself when I say that, but it was just nice seeing them again because it's been so long, especially seeing Aisha. But um, I'm pretty sure time travel has something to do with this because I'm like, how did Aisha is now being brought back into the picture? Because last I checked, she decided to stay in Africa. Hmm. Yeah, that's a very good question if you think about it. Hmm. Pretty sure someone in the comments below would correct me on that because, like, apparently, either comic books or something else would have to explain that. I just think time travel is the only thing that makes sense on why she's even there to begin with. It's Tanya, who is both the Turbo and Zeo Yellow Ranger, and you get to see her as a figure along with other figures being supposedly like the Rangers that you know and love are being captured. So that was Rita's plan, like capture all these Rangers, make them look like freaking toys to remind you that they now own Power Rangers, and like she's planning to go back in time to like give her former self all this knowledge just to kill the Power Rangers before they were even Power Rangers. So I'm like, okay then, I got it. I hope that really doesn't happen, but luckily it does not happen. Because not too many people are too keen on time travel nowadays, especially being used as a trope. Time Force and SPD did this, and me mentioning time traveling when it comes to Aisha may not make sense anymore now, but I don't know. I still do think that time travel has to affect Aisha coming back from the picture in some shape or form, alright? And especially that they have the SPA initials that is closely a little bit connected to SPD, alright? Just saying. Just saying. And now, on still moving the plot forward, you get to see both Rocky and Kat, who were formerly Mighty Morphin Rangers, then became Zeo Rangers, of course. But hey, one was retired and the other one was doing his own thing. If I didn't know any better, but hey, what can you do? So, yeah, I am strongly to imply that the other Rangers I mentioned, who were the original team, got captured, and now they had to make duplicate power coins for Rocky and Kat to use to save their friends and everyone else. Because right now the planet is overrun by freaking putties, and I'm like, really? And it's really funny on how the putties are being destroyed because it does show that, I mean, it's in the name. They're being turned into dirt or mud or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. And not gonna lie, I think this is where my other critique is coming in, my other complaint. The cinematography is, I don't know. I feel like it's missing something. Maybe some grain, like it just looks too clean. If that makes any sense, like it doesn't feel like it's popping out. You know, like it feels like the cinematography needs a little bit of something. Like I understand it's for like TV shows or whatever, but like I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm really not feeling the cinematography. Like it really feels alive to me. You know. So, like, there was one thing there. And the other thing I do want to address is that, like, they bring in the Megazords when it comes to the climax. And, not gonna lie, I kind of dig how they presented the Megazords. While it may come across as rushed in some aspect, but I thought they took a lot of time to try to make the Megazords not too cheesily cartoony that you've seen from the both Power Rangers and Super Sentai on how they present them for a very long ass time. Because a lot of people have been wanting to see like practical and men in suit effects, right? And to me, if I didn't know any better, I had to say that they both use like maybe the toys and a tiny bit of practical effects, but also do like a lot of CGI on them because they actually look pretty well presentable. So I gotta give props to that department. So I'm like, hey, what do you know? I actually really dig that. But I'm pretty sure there will be people out there that may take an issue with that. But no, I consider that to be a plus. All right, I consider it to be a plus. And I actually really liked how this ended. uh, of course, there would be people out there that would want to see like, hey, let's combine all our weapons to destroy Robo-Rita, right? But no, you don't get to see that. You get to see each weapon being used individually, and that the final blow will be a Zack's axe gun thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was really cool scene, and you would get to see like freaking Rocky. He would use his sword to stab to stab and destroy one of the henchmen monsters. So I was like, oh damn, like, okay then. All right, not gonna lie, I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't have to end it off with the, like, oh, ultimate weapon combo move. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of dig it separately. You know, it feels a little bit refreshing. I know that that's what made like Power Rangers to begin with, like, hey, combining weapons. But you would be seeing some other seasons that didn't have to combine every weapon whatsoever. But at least a power move or whatever. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna let that slide. I didn't mind that. And of course, on how they end it is by throwing in a very old episode that is a song from Kimberly, the actress who played Kimberly at least. And not gonna lie, that actually kind of got me though. That actually kind of got me, even though I now know what happened behind the scenes. So this felt very both organic and artificial at the same time. So yeah, I think you guys now know how I feel about this special now, because there are some instances where I'm like, I think you could have done better. Other parts I was okay with. Other parts I'm like, like I don't know about that. I just don't know about that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I think it was pretty decent at best. Do I think it could have been better? Probably so. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry if I rambled for the most part in some places, but I just had to say it loud and clear. This has been JigsVL, signing off right now, and may the power protect you. If you love and enjoy the content of my channel, please like and subscribe. If you are already a subscriber of mine, please check up on my community tabs for updates, especially for upcoming live streams, so we can have interactive discussions. Furthermore, check out my Newgrounds and or Pixiv profile pages to see my artwork archives. Negative and or positive feedbacks are welcome. But be warned that I do favorite artwork that is not suitable for all ages and come across as uncomfortable. Check out my blogs only on Newgrounds to be updated on my whereabouts and upcoming or in progress works. Lastly, please visit my Letterboxd page to read and see my written movie reviews rather than my videos, and see if we can have a discussion there if you disagree with my takes. Welcome to the GXVLverse, and stay tuned.